Hello YouTube, this is JonJororo, and in this video I'm going to be talking a bit about TF2. Now I was going back in my older videos and looking at the one where I said that in future videos I want to do videos about TF2 updates. So I figured, well, I might as well get started with that, and what better update than the competitive one? Well, alright, well, as I just told you and many of you have known, the competitive update came out alongside the heavy versus pyro. Now, the my personal opinion about heavy versus pyro is that you had the early ones like the soldier and the devil man and the spy and the sniper. A lot of those made sense, but never before have I seen any sort of clash between the pyro and the heavy. Now, I'd always make the joke saying, the next update should be the medic versus scout, and that was just a joke. But I think Valve one upped me with the pyro and the heavy. Anyway, that's my own opinion about the classes. So let's actually talk about the updates themselves. And in the background, I'm gonna have me playing, and for any relevant topics, I might have short clips of what I'm talking about because I want to talk about the weapons, and that it's basically the main thing I look for when I see updates is what do they do to the weapons, because I need to know. All right, so let's start with the competitive update. So before we had the quick play option, which was, as you know if you play TF2, was that you press play game and it would say, okay, what kind of game do you want to play? Do you want to play Payload? Do you want to play King of the Hill? And it's still kind of like that. The only issue I have is that the old way you were able to pick what exact server. Like, I live in the East Coast of US, so I always choose Virginia servers. Those are the closest ones to where I live. The ones where I get the less ping, more connected to it. Obvious, same thing. That's the only thing that I kind of have about. But other than that, this one's pretty much the same. Where you go into the play. First you have to go play the game. Then you choose either casual, competitive, and it also has like MVM and offline and training and whatever else. Oh, and community. They kept community in the server lists like the same way they used to have it when you just want to search for servers. So what you do is you go to the casual competitive, and it's actually just like when you used to. Well, if you still do MVM, it's mainly like that. You choose what kind of games you want to play, and then you search. And the cool thing about this is you actually set up parties just like MVM, and you can always be on the same team, which is amazing. So if you and your friends want to go and drop in some pubs, so be it. Go give them all a bad time. Okay. So along with that, there's also a leveling system. Now in casual gameplay, your level goes up, and that's it. It's basically saying how much do you play and how good are you at it. It's really that. Because the issue is it doesn't. Well, it's not an issue. It doesn't go down. So basically, it gives everyone in the server kind of a little quick. I don't want to say a little tidbit about you, saying, "Are you going to wipe the server or no?" Now, the difference is between that and competitive is that while both have levels, competitive actually goes down. You can actually lose levels. And the reason for that is, in casual, you can just be put in a game and whatever, who gives a crap. In competitive, you actually get put in games with other people that are about your level. So, you don't get stuck with your level 3 or whatever, and they give you a level 20 something. Looking at you, Overwatch. Anyway, it's basically, they're basically the same. The only difference is who you're playing with, and it depends on your level. And that's I mean, if you played Overwatch, it's basically that. Except, casual is not dependent on your level. Alright, so moving on, we're going to talk about the Heavy versus Pyro update. Now, what this update entails is basically like the War update where the Soldier and the Devilman had their own little clash. And what people are able to do is they choose a side. They choose, would you rather... At the end, whoever wins the update, either the Heavy or the Pyro, gets their own special update in the future. And, you go on TF2, and if you haven't been on since this update came out, it's going to prompt you saying, would you like to side with the Heavy or side with the Pyro? And, currently, the Pyro is winning by, I think it's 54 to 46, if I do math correctly, percent. So, you see, my personal opinion on that, I chose Heavy. Now, you're probably saying, oh, well, why did you choose Heavy? Why did you choose Pyro? Well, then my issue is the last 2 years of updates, I've seen nothing but buffs for the Pyro. And really nothing really for the Heavy. I mean, the biggest thing I've seen for the Heavy that a lot of people had issues with was his resistance when using miniguns. That was a thing, but they just fixed that in this update. So, and I'll explain that later in the weapons part of this. And that's basically all that entails in the Pyro versus Heavy aspect. Is that, oh, and well, I guess I should explain how they win. So what you do is, you pick your side, obviously, and you go out and you play the game, and you try to do as good as you can, because they take all the scores of everybody who's played the game from now until whenever they decide to close it, and whatever side you are on, the amount of points you get for that duration of time goes towards the total for that side you picked. And whoever has the most points, wins the next update. But it's probably gonna, as a lot of people, my friends tell me, and we were basically agreeing with, is whoever wins, the other one's gonna get it anyway. So basically, it's whoever gets it first. All right, moving on. Along with this update came a new maps. I want to say that the only one I played on before is Swiftwater. So I don't want to go on a limb and say, oh, they were already on the game and they just added to the update like they did countless other times like Snakewater or whatever. But I can't. I've never heard of Sunshine. I may have played on Metalworks, but the 3 maps is Sunshine, Metalworks, and Swiftwater. And I really don't know what Sunshine Metalworks are. I haven't really played those too much, but Swiftwater is just basically a payload map with 5 points, I believe. Yeah, 5 checkpoints. Alright. And they've also added new taunts. These taunts, I was mostly excited for the Scouts because the Scouts is the Carlton. The Carlton dance. And the reason why I was so excited about that was because in the expiration date TF2 film, when he was going through the montage with the spy, he was doing the Carlton, and that was possibly my favorite point in that entire video, was just him doing that dance. And now this is taunt. Dreams are completed. Okay, and the other 3, the not cool ones, whatever, they're not the Scout. We got the Balloon Bouncer for the Pyro, which is basically, those little, I want to say amusement rides that they put in front of supermarkets. Then you put the 2 quarters in and it goes back and forth, and it's like you're riding on a seal, or I don't know. They got that. It's a balloonicorn, and you just sit there as the Pyro. It's just another, look at me, I'm pretending to be AFK taunt. No, we got the Disco Fever for the Spy, which basically does a small disco dance, which is pretty cool. And I think another really, really funny one is the Fubar Fanfare for the Soldier, where he takes out a trombone, and he literally, I'll let the video explain that one. Yeah, it's funny, right? You better have laughed. If you didn't, gonna have to go to your house. I'll find you. A lot of the general, stuff to this update, it's a lot of like fix-ups and adding, giving all these poor people who do these tournaments their medals for, these like I haven't done a tournament myself. I wanted to enter one, but I haven't. Got really close to it. We didn't. But anyway, that's not important. All these people that do it, it's like years will pass maybe, and they'll finally get the medal for being first place, second place, or even participating most likely. That's part of that. It's like every major update, they're like, oh yeah, that's right. These people do all these competitive stuff. There we go. All right. Let's see. It's just adding different sounds. Boring, blah blah blah. Stuff that you wouldn't even have like cared about to begin with. Like, oh, enemies make a different sound when their body dissolves from being killed by an energy weapon. Let's see. Pastime. I'm sure some of you know about Pastime. It's another game mode. It's like, I think it's called handball. It's soccer in U.S. and football everywhere else. But with your hands. Yeah, that's all I know about it. And it's in TF2 and you shoot people, I guess. They finally took it out of beta, and they added they changed the maps, they put achievements, yada yada yada. And I've never played it before. I think it's okay. Sometimes it there's a lot of scouts. There's a lot of scouts on that. Like, you go on a pastime map, about like 3/5, maybe 4/5 of the like entire server is just scouts. I mean, I can see the point because you want to be as fast as you can. But since they added, I know like before it wasn't this case, but obviously because they changed it. Like the jack, the jack being the ball, doesn't heal the person who's carrying it anymore. But instead, if there's nobody near him, he's by himself, he's marked for death. So, I mean, basically, if you have it, you're asking to die. The other cool thing about, the general, before I move on to the weapon, well, actually, bug fixes first before weapons, so, because I had something to say about that. Another thing that was cool is they added actually a minimal HUD, where I'm sure you've noticed in some of my past, I don't know if I've actually put any videos out where I was playing in virtual. Oh, I did put a video out, where you probably didn't even see my scattergun when I was playing as a scout. I believe it was MVM, and I was talking about packs. It's because I play in virtual reality mode a lot. Not that I have a headset, no. It's just like I like the fact that you can look down and see your weapon, but also that it's not like blocking your view. And they kind of did that in this update where instead of making it like virtual reality, they just like pulled it down a little bit and made it a little smaller, so it's not covering half of your screen like the Islander. All right, that's the end of the general stuff. Let's move on to bug fixes. Well, rest in peace, everybody who like to put on the little light shows in the water by using the shred alert, because they fixed being able to repeatedly activate taunts while underwater. So no more light shows. Let's see. I know there was one where, I mean, fix the case where players would sometimes see other players carrying the wrong weapon. I mean, that happens all the time, especially with spies. If you see somebody carrying a revolver, like an engineer holding a revolver, you better believe it's a freaking spy, because sometimes it just doesn't put the revolver away and give him a shotgun. It just says, you know what? You get the revolver. And you can shoot people as an engineer with the revolver. A lot of it's like hats. There's a lot of, like, fixing bugs where engineer was able to heal Link's teleporter while I was building. I mean, I don't remember ever seeing that. I mean, I can't see how that'd be a bug. And apparently, the engineer never had a pelvis hitbox, so rip body shots. Oh, I never seen this one. I'm self-discovering at the same time. There are some that I don't see, and now I do. Like the medics sometimes instantly reviving people in a Man vs. Machine. That was cool. That was cool that happened. But now that it doesn't. Oh well, I guess it was just you know. All right. In the Manco store, they actually put new crates. Now, it's not like, well, they add one more crate to the series. It was like 92 or something like that, where it has some weapons that weren't strange before, and then now they have stranges. But they said there was like all of them, but there's some that's already strange. I don't know. Valve's confusing me with their logic. But they also have now um, new class starter packs, which means it's like you go and say you're new to the game, right? Well, you just made premium or whatever, because you're gonna get premium by buying something off the store anyway. And you're saying, well, I don't have a lot of things for the engineer. Well, you can go to the store and you go to the engineer and the engineer box, excuse me, and it will show you like, if you buy this, you're gonna get like all of these weapons, and there's your starter pack, and have fun with all these weapons. And you think that's cool, but if you wait a few weeks, you'll probably get them all anyway from drops. They also have new keyless cosmetic crates. Now it's kind of like I don't know if it was last Halloween or the one before, where if you bought those crates off the store, you can just open them right away without needing a key for it. It's like buying a key because it's the same price. It's like buying a key, but you know. And I'm not sure if they're hats that already exist or if they're new hats. It didn't say anything about it. But I'm probably gonna have a few. I might buy a few, and at the end of this little blurb I have, I'll probably open some just for your amusement, just to watch me slowly lose my money again over TF2 again. All right, now for the fun parts, the weapons. Well, actually, not just the weapon. It's just his game balance, because there was, I believe, a change to the base. Yeah, base being like the character themselves. So here we go. Let's start with the scout, because the scout is best class, and if you disagree, then just you smell. Anyway, the first one they changed was the Criticola. Now, when you use it, the first 2 seconds after you consume that lovely little purple drink, you are now marked for death. Not only, like, I believe before you would take extra damage anyway, so now you just take, like, you might as well be critted at that point. So you gotta, like, hide behind somewhere before you can actually run out and start spraying people to death with it. But I don't use it too often, so it doesn't really affect me at all. The next one's a soda popper, and this one actually, Vinity 966 was not very happy about this one, but I was very happy about this one. Now they used to have it that the quintuple jumps that you could get from running around with it out is no longer a thing. You actually have to like attack people with the weapon to actually build your hype. So you can't just like run around your base and then when you get it, just run out and then like excuse me, run out and just jump however you want. Now you actually have to be offensive about it. So that will stop the 3-second rounds on double cross where you can just jump from one side to the other, grab the intel, and do it again. 3 times. The next one is the short stop. They added a alt fire attack, which is pretty neat. It's kind of like Left 4 Dead. You know how when you could have like the melee, you could just push someone away. It's a horde of zombies, so push a bunch of people away. You can do that now, and you shove somebody. They removed the healing bonus, so rest in peace those small med kits that would give you 50 health instead of like 20. And reduce the pushback vulnerability, to 20% from 40. So now you actually get pushed a little instead of a lot. You know. All right. The next one is a stun on a stick, which this one actually makes a lot of sense since it auto crits people who are on fire. They just added another thing where you take 25% less damage while it's out from fire. So I mean, while it probably isn't going to happen, you can't just go up and like crit a pyro, but at least you can get away from him. All right, the next class is soldier. Now this one got a lot of people a little bit upset with the righteous bison. Apparently, the projectile that the righteous bison fires was not supposed to hit someone multiple times. You know when you fired it, and you fired at somebody who was walking backwards, it would hit them like a shit ton of times. Yeah, that was a bug. It wasn't supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to happen. Anyway, per shot damage has been increased to compensate. So basically, when you shoot point blank, like you're right in front of these people, it does about 54 damage. It used to be varied. It'd be like, oh, I guess I can do more. Sometimes I can do. It's more like a melee weapon now. And the further away you are, the less it does, obviously. And now it does definitely 24. They slowed the projectile down, so now it's gonna be like one of those nuke rockets that you see in custom servers, which blows up the entire map. And for each person, it still goes through people. It still does that. It just doesn't hit the person multiple times. And for every person that it goes through, it does less damage. And they updated the sounds. I mean, sometimes you notice, sometimes you don't. This next weapon got me a little upset. The disciplinary action. Now, when you whip somebody, it only gives them the speed bonus for 2 seconds, not 3. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but I mean, what was really the problem with that? I've never seen anyone exploit the whip. Never ever. The rocket jumper, the only thing they did was update what it looks like and the sound it makes, and I actually think it looks really cool. That and the sticky jumper, which I'll probably mention later anyway. Yeah, I think they look really cool, and it makes it a little more obvious that they're not supposed to be doing damage. But I still go on servers and people are still trying to kill me with that rocket jumper. So congrats. This is clap for you. Moving on to the sniper. Now the cozy camper. Oh, the cozy camper. The poor thing. So people used it for the main purpose of people using the cozy camper. Well, so they don't get pushed around. They have the flinch resistance, so when they get shot, they're not going to go bobbing. Now it requires a charge to get it. It requires you fill up a meter and then use it, and you can only have it for a certain amount of time. So guess what's not going to be used by a lot of people anymore? That. But guess what is going to be used by a lot of people? The Sydney Sleeper. Because now, when fully charged or making a headshot, I still have to look up the headshot thing because I don't know if they can get headshots kills now, or if it's just what would be considered a headshot, but it still can't get kills. Anyway, it still does the Girardi effect, but now it does it in a radius. So if there's a bunch of snipers piled up in a corner on 2-4, and you're sneaky and you can peek through the bridge and shoot them, a bunch of them are going to get Girardi instead of just one. And then just wait for a soldier, jump up there, launch a rocket at them, and they all die. The end. Along with that, actually, if you shoot teammates that are on fire, it will extinguish them, which I think is amazing. That's awesome. So I can see that being used a lot now. The next one, it's just the clearest carbine. They removed a hidden 10% damage taken multiplier under the effects of the mini crits you get after killing somebody with it. I didn't know that existed. It never occurred to me that was a thing. again, it said hidden, so yeah, that's just me being me. All right, moving on to the heavy. Now this is what I was talking about earlier, where people had an issue with the minigun. When not the minigun, but the Natasha and the Brass Beast, giving them resistance. But now what happens is the resistance only is given to the heavy when it's spun up and they're below half health. So now you can't tank as a heavy anymore because it's not going to happen. Since this next one, the Huolong heater. This I don't know. I'm indifferent about this because I use this one a lot, but it's like it went up and down at the same time. So it does less damage, but it does more damage to people who are on fire. It takes less ammo. It takes like 4 ammo a second instead of 6. I mean, it's not a lot, but whatever. And it reduced the damage from the fire you get underneath your feet from using it because of the... They actually have a reason. It says because of the fact that you can do more damage to people who are on fire. So, okay. This is interesting because I'm not sure if a lot of people even knew about this one, the buffalo steak sandwich. Now, when you use it and you're under the effects of it, you're supposed to be taking 25% more damage. So you can't just like go in and truck with it. I've seen a lot of people do the steak and the fist of steel, and get a lot of kills with it too. Apparently, all this time we were lied to. It's actually 10. It was actually 10% the entire time instead of 25%. They fixed it now, so it's not anymore. Oh boy. So all these fixes though, not a lot of people knew about them. All right. The spy doesn't have a lot, but there's one I probably have to do a little more research on because it's strange how it's worded. So first, what they did to the spy was they increased the speed to 320. His speed, like how fast he moves. So he's a little faster now. It was 300 before, and now it's 320. Whatever that is in miles per hour. I don't know. The one I need to look at is the enforcer. I might have like a little edit in the video. Say like when I figure it all out. It says here, attacks pierce, resist, and absorb effects from all sources. Now, Vinny actually, talked to me about that, and he said that he had trouble killing a spy as a pyro when he had the enforcer. Like he lit the spy on fire, but he didn't have afterburn. That must be what it means to absorb the effects. So that would also mean that Mad Milk, Girardi, bleeding, anything from whatever. But I'm gonna have a probably more detailed thing about it in the video. This is just what I know right now at the time of me talking, sitting in my chair, sleeping. I mean talking. Anyway, moving on to the pyro. Oh, would you look at that? The pyro got buffed again. All flamethrowers now, when they do direct damage to an enemy that's being healed, it reduces the healing and resist shield of mediguns by 25%. Yeah, you heard me. So, it's like the Pomson being shot into the medic, except it's the pyro walking at people. Have fun, medics. Pyros are now your worst enemy. The Man Melter. Apparently it had a hidden 20% fire rate penalty. I thought it was just the way it was supposed to be, but now it's not. Moving on to the medic. This one, the quick fix has been overshadowed, unfortunately, because now all mediguns allow the medic to match the speed of their heal target. So whatever medigun they're using, if they're healing a scout, they're going to be the scout. And that was only quick fix before that was able to do that. Now it's all of them. And the only thing they did with the quick fix was reduce the rate of the Uber charge to 15%. So now it takes even longer to get the Uber charge. So now really all it does for people is give them that, the insta-healing when we overcharged. I'll stick to the Medigun, thank you very much. The overdose. Oh boy. This is another one that, oh my god, the phone. This is another one that kind of affected me a bit because I use the overdose a lot. You know, I have my reasons, but don't judge me, please. What they did was, now this part's nice, is that the speed bonus is now 20% rather than 10% for max. When the higher your overcharge is ready, like if it's like 10%, if it's 10% ready, you get like how do I math? 2%, you'll be 2% faster. Before it'd be 1% faster. For every 10% of overcharge, you'll be 1% faster. Now for every 10% of overcharge, you'll be 2% faster. That make any sense? Did I throw too many numbers in your head? Well, here's some more numbers. Because now, damage penalty, instead of being negative 10% from the stock syringe gun, it is now negative 15%. So basically, you might as well be shooting Mercy's pellet gun into a Roadhog. And now, drop Mediguns. Instead of, just keeping the charge they had, because that was a pretty good tactic that people use, is that when medics were dropped, and if they had their Mediguns out, their Mediguns would drop with the charge that was left on there. So, like, if there was someone who was fully charged and they got dropped, and you were a medic and you used yours, you can go pick up theirs and use theirs, and you'll have like 2 overcharges in like 2 seconds. Amazing. But now what it does is, when it drops, the overcharge meter slowly goes down, until the gun disappears, apparently. Because I have trouble picking up my own gun, because whenever I'm medic, I always seem to get like 20 seconds of respawn time. The Demo Man. Alright, now, I've only seen this really on Man vs. Machine, but when people use the Alibaba's Wee Booties or the bootlegger, they would use it for the speed boost and the extra health. So, they would obviously just use their sticky bomb launcher anyway. But now, I mean, it's not really the health, but it's now just the speed bonus that you lose. You need to have a shield for the speed bonus. Oh my god. So no more of that unless you don't care about speed. The Iron Bomber, I don't use it too much, but I mean this is still pretty handy. The fuse, the time it takes for the thing to explode is now 1.4 seconds instead of 2 seconds. Quickie Bomb Launcher, they did something to this thing. They did something. Oh my god. So it takes a little bit longer to charge now. Like, when you hold down the mouse button to launch it further, it takes a little bit longer now. It was 70% faster, and now it's 50% faster. The max charge shots are now 35% more damage rather than 25%. And the clip size penalty is now 50% from 25%. So now you have let me see. Oh, and remove the sticky bombs fizzle 4 seconds after landing. All right. So let me try to sum this up. You have less of a clip, that it takes a little bit longer to charge, but it does more damage if you make it fully charged, and they don't fizzle anymore. It's basically, it's like the sticky launcher, except more powerful but less clip. Does that make a lot of sense? And the sticky jumper, like I mentioned earlier, the rocket jumper, it looks pretty and it does cool sounds. The end. Moving on to the engineer. The engineer got a really, really cool one. Is now level 1 teleporters, how they used to take 125 to like just build to like, start. Now only costs 50, which is awesome. And there was actually an exploit with this, which they fixed already, that I'll talk about in a little bit, with the 50 metal. Had something to do with the Eureka effect, but I'll get into that in a little bit. The Widowmaker. Damage increase 10% when attacking the same target as your sentry, which is really cool because it's like it's promoting you to like help your sentry instead of just sitting there and whacking away at it. You know, if you shoot the same target as your sentry, you're gonna kill it a lot faster. The Eureka effect, the 50% less metal from dispensers and pickups are now 20%, which is part of the uh, exploit, and the other part would be add teleporters cost 50% less metal, which means that teleporters only cost 25 for Eureka effect. And since the 50% less metal from anything is now 20, both of those kind of contributed to this exploit that I'll talk about in a bit. The short circuit, the base projectile attack, 10% is minus 10% metal. So if you hit or miss somebody, whatever, it takes away 10 metal, whatever. But after, it's only negative 5% metal if you destroy projectiles. It's still going to be 10, but it's going to take 5 after every other one after that. Now, I believe that's like within a certain amount of time. I'm sure if you like stop for a little bit and then you go to the bathroom and come back, it's going to be 10 again. And the last weapon that was changed, or in this case fixed, was the Pomsen. Apparently, the being able to shoot through your own buildings was a thing. You could do that with the Pomsen. That was an exploit. Let's see, and it increased the damage. It's like the Bison. It increased the damage if you're right in front of somebody to 72, and reduced the ones if you're really far away to 32. So it does more damage if you're close and less damage from before than if you're way far away. And the sound is different. So that is, oh god, 37 minutes of recording. That is that update. Now I'm just gonna talk about some of the fixes, because every update they make, there's always the fixes that come in the next few days. So I'm just gonna quickly cover those. So in the next, the same day, let's see, they fixed the medic where there was a bug that if he was healing a scout and the scout died, he would still have the speed boost. So they fixed that. They fixed crashes, whatever. Now the next day was where they had to fix the I believe. Let me take a quick look. Yeah. All right. This is where they had to fix the glitch I was talking about earlier with the teleporters. But I'll talk about that when I get to that. So the casual mode now. Before there was actually a abandonment penalty if you left the game. This still applies to competitive, but they got rid of it in casual. If you left the game, you wouldn't be able to join another one for 10 minutes. This is to get people to stay on the server and you see a game through to the end. And apparently players are only required to have a single mode select. I mean, I've never heard anything about that. Like, I guess if they only wanted to play one mode, they weren't able to. But whatever. The Pomsen and the Righteous Bison apparently crashed a lot of servers. It's probably the amount of people who got upset by using them. Apparently, there was a way to hit yourself with the soda popper to get hype. It was probably using the Boston Basher or the 3-room blade. It probably counted. Let's see. All right, this is what I'm talking about. So what happened was with the Eureka effect, you would get, now that they changed it, that you can get more metal than you used to, and that it cost 25 metal for a teleporter. People would use this to get infinite metal. This being that the teleporter still dropped like about 80, 90, 70, 80, 90 of metal. And since it only costs for Eureka effect 25 metal, you would basically get more than what you used to make it. So people would use this to like get metal immediately. So they fixed that. Let's see. The bone saw apparently didn't work in the new view model. And they added a new before this. Well, actually, it was on the same update, but I didn't really cover too much. Was this game? I can't think of the game right now, and I don't feel like looking it up right now. Where you get that if you bought it during the Steam sale, you got I think a hat and a shirt and a knife. I think that's what it was. Well, not a knife. It's a machete. There's a difference. And it was equipped to all. It's an all-class weapon, melee weapon. It's basically like the stock for everybody. It's another stock reskin, but it's an all-class, which is awesome because you don't see a lot of those. And apparently there was a bug with a spine engineer couldn't equip them, so there's that. And the one that they released the day after that, let's see, one of the strange filters, which basically is like strange filters. If you put them on strange weapons, they only work in a certain place or wherever. You have to be in a certain criteria to use it. In this case, it was in competitive, so it would count how many kills you got in competitive. And apparently it wasn't describing itself properly. I guess people were putting it on not knowing what it was actually supposed to do. I don't know. The achievement for the pastime, which is to win 10 times in a pastime mode, was not tracking it, so I don't know if I was affected by that or not, but that's kind of upsetting for people who were. Manpower, which I've played a couple times, and I'm indifferent about that too, because it's like you get the right person with the right power up, they're gonna wipe. Like I had a regen power up as a sniper, and I completely wiped the other team in a match. And I didn't like pyros were walking at me, and I was able to melee kill the pyro before it could even take away half my health because I was regenning health so much faster. So maybe that's a bug. Maybe the regen really was overpowered. It might be a bug, and they're probably going to fix it pretty soon, if it is. But in Manpower, it used to be 3 captures a round to win the game, but now it's 7. And the last thing is just console commands. That's the case. So yeah, that was the Meet Your Match update. I promised myself I was going to do this. It took a lot of motivation for me to do this, but I did it. So, yeah, that's not, I mean, have fun in the update, I guess. I'm probably going to add a little thing at the end where I open some crates because I think it's pretty cool. Like, being able to see what exactly, they're offering. So, we'll have to see. And if I don't do it, then, I'll just say it now. Thanks for watching. And, I don't know. Go play TF2, I guess, because it's good. Don't mind the fact that I mentioned Overwatch. I haven't played that game in so long. Go play TF2. It's better. Hi again. It's me, and I decided to get the crates. Let's start with the scout. I'm a little actually afraid now. Also, please don't mind my music. Don't just. Oh, okay. I got the douchebag scout shirt. I can't fucking believe it. That's funny. I should probably paint it a stupid color. Anyway. Yeah, so I did this, just because I said I was going to. Just to see you guys can laugh at what I get for a key. It's a key. Choose. Oh, that one was good. Will I wear these? Maybe. I don't know. Nothing to beat my scout. The one I already have now. I feel like I've had this one before. You know what? I did. I had this like way long ago. I think I had this like 2, maybe 3 summers ago. If I'm thinking of the right one, I think I did. Ooh, a strange hat. Yes. Strangers speak to me on a personal level. So yeah, as you can see, I got one of every one. Just so I can get pants for the heavy. Pretty good so far. Pretty good. Pyro, yeah, that was alright. Oh boy. did pretty good with the demo, man. The Dope Huncher. I think Vinny has this one. Oh, I think he has that. Oh. I can feel my wallet crying, though. Ooh, that's a nice one. Yeah. I get it, yes. One time use and I can't undo what I do. Ooh, I see that hat a lot. It's probably not worth too much, but whatever. Now let's see what the multi-class one is. It's a gibbous. What should be a gibbous? I think I have that. I don't, or if I did, I used to. But that's pretty good. You know what? I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. So thanks again for watching. And you know that. My poor wallet.